And we're back. I actually have Andy Chase on the phone from 105.7 The Hawk. He's currently, as I had mentioned, sitting up on a billboard in this horrible weather, but it's all for a great, great cause. So I do give him some major, major credit. So actually, I have a couple questions for Andy. Andy, can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's a little bit low, but I can hear you.
Hey, Andy, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good considering what the weather's been like, but I'm doing all right.
I was going to say, we always seem to pick the best weeks for these.
You know, it's one of those things where you just never know. I got a little anxious. I looked online early last week to see what the weather was like, because they give you those 15-day forecasts, and it said it was going to be beautiful, sunny skies, 60 degrees every day.
Oh, no.
No, that hasn't happened.
I was going to say, it has not happened that way for you. I feel so bad. I was really feeling for you last night. Every time I looked out the window, it seemed like it was raining harder.
Well, you know what, though? We look at it this way, and not to sound cheesy or anything, the kids, the families, Ocean of Love, the kids with cancer, they go through sacrifices 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We do this for 1 week. If it rains, if it snows like it has in years past, it's okay. We can sacrifice 1 week of our lives to deal with crazy weather, you know?
That's so true, and it's for a fantastic cause. I explained a little bit about Oceans of Love when I first opened the show, but I know that you have a little bit more background. How was Oceans of Love started?
Well, Ocean of Love started many, many years ago. Linda Gillick, the chairperson, the founder of Ocean of Love, has a son, Michael Gillick, who has cancer. And unfortunately, there was a major, major cancer cluster in Toms River in Ocean County. It was caused, finding out later on, through illegal dumping. There were some chemical companies that were just dumping it illegally in Toms River, and which caused a cancer cluster in our hometown, in our backyard. And an extraordinary amount of kids were getting cancer. And Linda didn't want to sit back and just accept this. She investigated, found out what was causing this. But in the meantime, though, she also put out help for these families who were also dealing with their kids and their siblings and their relatives with cancer. And basically what Ocean of Love does is they help the quality of life for these families in Ocean County. Their medical bills are astronomical, Heather, and a lot of times they can't afford the simple things in life, which is filling up their car with gasoline to get their kids to the hospitals for treatment, for chemotherapy. A lot of these families can't afford to have a Christmas because of medical expenses. A lot of these families can't afford a Christmas tree. They can't afford to put a turkey dinner on the table for Thanksgiving. Ocean of Love, because of the donations of our community, will go to these people's houses and give them an entire Thanksgiving. They'll put presents under the Christmas tree. They'll give the families gas cards. Families can't even pay their bills because of the medical expenses. You know, we take for granted that we have 200 channels on our cable and our direct TV. Some families can't even afford basic cable, and it's not fair to the kids who just want to watch their shows. They just want to watch their videos, and they want to watch their movies. Ocean of Love will pay for cable. They'll pay the utilities. Whatever these families need, Ocean of Love will step in and help them out. And when I say anything, Heather, I mean anything. Ocean of Love, they're an amazing organization, and that's why we're doing this, to raise the money for Ocean of Love.
I remember back when I was originally, back in the day when I was with another radio station in the area and we were doing Oceans of Love.
B98.5. It's okay. I was wearing a nice sweatshirt all day today.
So back in the days of B98.5, I remember when we did the Oceans of Love, and it's such an intense experience.
Hello.
Like, I remember just the different emotions that everybody that's there goes through. Like, you have these moments where you're so happy because you're raising so much money for such a fantastic cause. But then you hear some of the stories, and it really brings you back down to earth. Like, it really makes you put your own life into perspective. I still remember some of the stories that I've heard. What stories have you heard so far?
Hello.
Oh, hold on 1 second. We're having technical difficulties.
We're still live.
We're still live? Andy, can you hear me?
We lose him?
Uh-oh, we actually lost Andy. We're going to try to get him back on the line. So, but like I was saying, with the Oceans of Love organization, I've actually participated in a few of these billboard radiothons myself. I myself have never actually been up on the billboard, but I have been on site for hours on end, trying to fundraise trying to fundraise money for this cause. And you hear some of the most heart-wrenching stories that really make your life seem so frivolous in comparison, all of your problems. These families with these children are just devastated. I mean, cancer is such a devastating disease, especially when, you find out how it was caused in this area. As you said, Linda Gillick did a lot of research into Oceans of Love, and it's really upsetting when you find out that it could have been avoided. Now, Andy, can you hear me?
I lost you. I'm on a tent. I'm on a billboard, so I apologize.
It's excusable. Don't worry. Now, Andy, I was just talking about some of the stories that I've actually heard in the past, and how the emotions are on site at these billboard radiothons. I remember there being moments where you were so happy because you are fundraising money for such a great cause. But then you hear some of the stories of these families with these children, and it just brings you right back down to earth. Is there any story that's touched you so far throughout this radiothon?
You know, Heather, what blows my mind every single time is that these kids who are healthy, or some of the kids that are actually even sick, they're kids. They're 5 years old, they're 6 years old, they're 7, they're 10, 12, whatever it may be. And they get allowance from their parents. Every week, you get allowance as a kid, and you look forward to that allowance because you're saving for a video game, or they're saving for a DVD, or a toy, or a CD. And these kids actually have piggy banks. I know we forget as adults what a piggy bank is because we have checking accounts, we have savings accounts, but these kids come here with a piggy bank who's 10 years old, who's been saving for their favorite video game or their favorite DVD, and they say, you know what? I am giving the money to Ocean of Love. I'm giving the money that I've earned all summer long from raking leaves, from helping my father paint the house, from the Tooth Fairy. And they take that money and they give it back to the kids of Ocean of Love. It blows my mind how generous these little children are when there are doctors and lawyers and professionals and people who are making six-figure salaries who haven't donated.
It's so true.
It really warms my heart, and it puts tears in my eye how the selflessness these kids show to help out the other kids in their community. Because one day, in the blink of an eye, they could be diagnosed with cancer. And it's just an amazing, amazing thing that happens when we do this Ocean of Love Billboard Radiothon. It blows my mind.
It's so true, and I remember, it's so sad to think that children even have to worry about, an illness like cancer, but I remember even some of the children that used to come, they would say that their classmates were affected with cancer, and it's so sad that children this young have to be exposed to such a horrible disease as cancer.
Absolutely. These kids don't deserve it.
Not at all.
They never asked for it. But you know what the reality is, though? It's something they have to deal with. And they do it with a smile on their face. I'm up on this billboard, and the last 2 days, children, Ocean of Love children, who are going through chemotherapy, who have lost all the hair on their head, who are going through treatment, who every night they might have cases of nausea, they can't eat, everything tastes awful to them. They come and they see us with a smile on their face. They're dealing with things that we can never even fathom what it must be like to deal with. But when they show up here and when they go to school and they're hanging out with their friends, they're laughing, they're playing like the little kids should, and they have the attitude they're going to beat cancer. And Ocean of Love is a big help of them to keep these kids positive, and that's why we do what we do.
And it's amazing, these children, I still remember, they're so fearless. They don't, they have no concept of what they're facing, and they're so fearless, and they face it with just, they almost accept it, and they expect that they're going to beat this disease. And it's such a great thing because,
Again,
just some of the stories that I remember hearing, I still remember some of them to this day, and like you were saying before, it is amazing how, these people that have six-figure salaries, they're willing to turn a blind eye to the fact that this is a major problem in our area. It was somewhat resolved. I mean, the awareness was raised to the point where people started putting their feet down and wanting to do something about it, but it still seems like, the hysteria is over and people have kind of forgotten about it again.